Welcome to the all-new looking, new-sounding Schick cool-down lap. It's a podcast, it's a vodcast, I don't know what it is, but what we are going to do, James Pavey, is talk everybody through what was a wicked weekend here at the Bosch Power Tools Perth Super Sprint. Sort of don't know where to start with this one. We're going to be hearing from Neil Crompton from in pit lane soon, but boy, oh boy, was there a bit to talk about off the back of this one.
Extraordinary main game action, Dunlop series action. Oof. I mean, you were behind the mic for a lot of it, but I can't remember a weekend where there was drama to the level that it was, all things considered. I mean, you look at Walkinshaw and Brodie United, the decision to make that test day a few weeks ago, geez, it paid dividends, didn't it?
Yeah, so let's just work through what are the big headlines here from Perth off the back of a couple of huge races 9 and 10 in the championship. They were 55-lap super sprint style races, so only pit stops for tyres needed, and some decided to go for either 2, 3 or 4 tyres in those stops. But on Saturday, for race 9 of the championship, it was all about Chad Neylon.
Yeah, I mean, Walkinshaw and Brodie United, it's almost vindicated their decision to go to Ford, but they would have liked to have won a race a little bit more sooner than this, I'd like to say, but that was a heck of a performance all weekend. From the moment that car rolled out of the track, the way that Chaz was carrying himself through the weekend, and also we'll get to Ryan Wood's performance as well, but I think for Chaz Mostert fans, it's a bit of a relief. I know there was a photo posted on Supercars socials about Chaz just sitting on that roof, composed, calm. It's been a while since Adelaide 22, and we were all there. It does feel like a while ago, but a really, really statement performance across all days. Of course, the wind didn't go their way today for obvious reasons, but the pace was still there.
So they locked out that front row with Ryan Wood doing a nice job, and then that was one of many firsts actually. So their first win at a Ford, first win together with Sam Scafidi, who's his new race engineer, so no more Adam DeBore this year. That's also Sam Scafidi's first win as well. So it felt like there was an awful lot of boxes being ticked there yesterday. It closed up that championship picture slightly, and it also sent Walkinshaw and Brodie United to second in the team's championship, so it had a massive knock-on effect.
Yeah, I think one of the things we've spoken about with WAU, even when Nick Percat first signed with the team, was they'll be teams championship contenders. I think the way this season's transpired, we're 4 rounds in, Red Bull Ampol Racing's still got a pretty healthy lead in both championships, but WAU will take solace in the fact that they have moved up the leaderboard, and Ryan's moved up as well. They just want to get trophies, and they're getting a really good way to start. I mean, a win. What more can you ask for?
It was very nearly 2 trophies in that one. We had that great battle between Will Brown and Ryan Wood towards the end of that one, and unfortunately he couldn't quite hang on to that last step of the podium, but you get the feeling a podium for Ryan Wood's not too far away.
20 years old, Chad. It's quite remarkable to see how far he's come, and 12 months ago we were here and he won both races, but you were calling those races and having to think back to how you actually win those races coming from behind.
Yeah.
A lot of these results from some drivers, you're coming through the field, you're having to work through, sometimes you're leading from the front. Ryan's had to do a lot of that through Super 2, and now he's having to really get his elbows out in supercars, but man, for 20 years old, that kid can drive.
Yeah, so let's move it through to today, and we'll back that up again. Chaz Mostert, again with the speed, put it on the front row, but it was actually Cam Waters' turn to shine here today. So picked up a podium yesterday. That was the first podium of the year, believe it or not, for Cam Waters. He came into this weekend, Cam, 15th in the points. He leaves here today in 4th. Wow. So that is just a monumental turnaround in just the one weekend.
It is interesting in the way that this season's transpired, how the 2 Triple Eight guys, wins, poles, podiums, they've been really, really good, but the story for most of the drivers, probably outside of Chaz, it's just been luckless. I mean, even here, we're out the front of Matt Stone Racing, Nick Percat got that win in the Grand Prix, but otherwise it's been tricky sailing for those guys, but I mean, Cam Waters, Black Cats, ladders, what's going on there, but it was coming. I think we all knew it was coming, but the way he drove this weekend, to be really smart, the guy that we expect to fight for championships, but as you said, from 15th at the start of the weekend, I mean, it probably tells the story of his season. Luckless this weekend, superb.
Yeah, finally got the ducks in a row there for the Monster Energy team, and for today it was Tom Randle's turn to feel a little bit like Ryan Wood yesterday, so he had Will Brown on the attack. Last step of the podium was there. There was a little bit of a rub between the two down at turn 7. You could feel that. I was in the Tickford garage when it happened, that they felt that they were a little bit hard done by in that one. Certainly Race Control saw it that way because a 5-second penalty went the way of Will Brown. For Will Brown, he was straight on the radio to say that he moved over on me, and ultimately that 5-second penalty didn't really count for much because he was able to build a 5-second gap over the chasing Will Davison.
Yeah, I mean, it's touring car racing at its fickle best sometimes. I mean, you see those sort of moves and you think, well, one driver was doing this, one driver was doing that. Will probably had a right to say, well, he did move over. It's a big braking zone down there, and you mightn't see it on TV. It's actually uphill as well, so there's a lot of energy going through those cars. Tom did a really good job, given there was a disparity between the grip. Tom had taken 2 tyres, Will had taken 4. And then as we saw in yesterday's race as well, that disparity does shine through later in the stint. But yeah, I mean, Will Brown, that's probably the first time this year, outside of the wet race in New Zealand, that he's been really under the pump. But that's the reason why he's got the orange numbers, because he was able to come out the other side of that. Granted, he got a penalty, but straight car.
Yeah, pretty impressive, isn't it? So he's putting together one of those championship years, don't you reckon, where you see a driver who might not be winning the race, but is still out there to pick up the most amount of points possible. And for him this weekend, it was a couple of podiums. So if that's Will Brown's worst, then watch out, because he's going to be in pretty amazing form. Conversely to that, there was a fair gap now between himself and his teammate Brock Feeney. Brock didn't seem to have quite the same amount of speed to match his teammate.
One lap and race pace. I think crestfallen's quite a heavy word, but he was pretty disappointed, and especially after qualifying today on Sunday morning, just disappointed about it. He just couldn't unlock the car. I think he said it was tapped out, which means as a driver, that's the most you can get out of the car. But when you're starting from 12th on these races, they go for roughly an hour, if not a little bit less. It's hard to make ground, and he had made some substantial ground in the opening laps, but it sort of just fell away, and unfortunately just couldn't get it back.
What else caught your attention from this weekend? Because there was certainly a few teams that weren't able to back up their form from earlier in the season.
I mean, where do you start? I mean, it's a different format. Knockout qualifying, you are exposed if you're not quite there. In a place like this, you know it quite well. This surface is like a cheese grater, and if you haven't got a car that's good on grip, you're going to struggle. But DGR in that last race I thought was really impressive. They took a bold gamble, 2 tyres on their cars, and they were fighting through, and Will Davison's classified 4th, which, that's one step off the podium. That means doing a pretty good job. So got the Perth flies flying around.
That happens over here. I've had years and years of dealing with that. So DJR ended up inside the top 5 in terms of the team's championship. We love talking about this now because of the live pit lane order, but the biggest movers there outside of Walkinshaw and Andretti United were Tickford.
Yes.
So good bank of points for them here this weekend. It's taken them from what is literally within our eyesight to a long, long way behind us for Darwin.
Yeah, I mean, Darwin's a long straight, it's a long pit lane. You've got a lot of time to see how far you've got to go, and Triple Eight have had the luxury of being at the front of pit lane all season, but when you're Grove Racing, for example, and you start this weekend in second, and all of a sudden you're not second, maybe that's when teams might go, I'm not really a fan of this concept. But if you're Tickford or you're Walkinshaw and Andretti United saying, I love this is great, because you are being rewarded for form. And form did elude Penrite Racing this weekend. They didn't have the 1 lap pace, and just that means, like I said, in the races, you're just fighting.
Yeah, so both their drivers just hang on to a spot inside the top 10. Richie Stanaway is part of a 3-way tie for 8th at the moment in the championship, so incredibly tight in that mid-pack battle at the moment. So the Red Bull boys, we know that they've got a little bit of clear air, but behind them it's just absolutely crammed in there, and Chaz Mostert was able to get a little bit closer. I'd be remiss of us not mention that this is also the second stop for Dunlop Super 2 and Super 3 this weekend. What sort of action did you enjoy there this week? Because there was no shortage of it, particularly today.
Yeah, I mean, before we get to the obvious, I mean, you got to props for Kai Allen. I mean, again, 18 years old. He's already starting to talk about main game. He said that in his victory lane.
Yeah, that sort of caught my attention, that one as well.
He knows where he is in his career at the moment, but really impressive performance yesterday. But for one reason or another, it didn't really work out qualifying for those guys today. But the quality of the racing, I think, has been really impressive this year in Super 2 and Super 3. I mean, there are some really good guys in there as well, but speechless about what happened today.
Yeah, so let's just cover that off right now. There was 2 red flags, if you missed it, in the second race of the weekend for the Dunlop series. The first one was for Mason Kelly, who unfortunately got caught up in an incident yesterday. They spent all night rebuilding that car and then had an engine failure. We heard from Todd Kelly in an interview during the red flag say that this was the last race meeting for that engine, and he was inside the top 5 when that happened.
Racing's
Brutality.
hard, and there was a lot of chaos at turn 6 as well, where that spilled a lot of oil. A lot of guys are going off, and again, we say it countless times, but it's worth reiterating. Credit to all the marshals and volunteers. That was a pretty scary fire.
Yeah.
When it's unfolding like that, we're in the media truck trying to get all the content done, thinking, oh man, what's going to happen? But those guys controlled it really well. Mason seemed quite calm, and Todd was calm as well. It is his son after all, but what happened after that was even more terrifying, sadly.
Yeah, so we go back to racing. By the way, there was 4 or 5 cars that went off down at turn 6 as a result of the oil down there, but what happened on the restart had nothing to do with any of that. It was just some hard racing. We saw Cooper Murray and we saw Cam McLeod. They were fighting for spots inside the top 5. Certainly for Cam, that would have been a career best result. And there was just that slight touch going across the top of the hill, fastest part of the racetrack, scariest part of the racetrack, and it also looked even more accentuated because it was going over the very, very top of the crest. So a wild ride for Cam McLeod when that car dug in, and the instant response for so many people was, wow, that's so similar to what happened to Scott Pye in that very same spot of the road with Rick Kelly and Garth Tander. The only difference was on that day, importantly, Scott Pye's car did not dig in and go over.
Yeah, I mean, if you'll obviously go back through YouTube or whatever, and you'll find that Scott actually went over that access road, or that is...
It's before,
that's the loop as well.
Yeah.
He got air, and the car hit the ground. I think he finished the race, albeit probably, I'm sure, with a sore back, but it wasn't the same for Cam. I think when there was the overlap, and there was an overlap, it sort of just dug in, the cameras cut away, and then as we saw it, that red car was just on for a ride. And again, thanks for the volunteers and marshals, because that could have been really, really scary. And we've got a story on supercars.com. By the time this publishes, Cooper actually went up to Cam and said, hope you're all right. And Cam was, again, the teenager said, no bad blood, this is racing, these things happen. So, scary.
If that doesn't epitomise the Dunlop series and how hard these kids are willing to race for their futures and their careers, I get the feeling that showed it right there, and Cooper trying desperately to get some points back on Kai Allen, who at that point was buried back in the pack. But on top of all that, it was actually Zach Bates who went on to win his first race, win the round. Brad Vaughan was given a 5-second penalty. So both races today for Dunlop Series and Supercars were settled by 5-second penalties, which is typically not what you'd like to see. But well done to Zach Bates, who's picked up his first round win. Coincidentally, his cousin Harry had a win in
How about it?
in the Australian Rally Championship, also in WA this weekend, which is a pretty cool sign for them. So Walkinshaw and Andretti United at a track which hasn't been great to them in the past.
It's true.
They go back-to-back in the Dunlop Series.
I mean, I spoke to Zach Bates in the lead up to this event, and he was quietly confident. They all got test days in, and he got some laps in his teammate's car on a rookie day, but he knew that this was a track where they would have had some speed. Obviously, Ryan Wood last year, 2 wins. But again, for these young blokes to get these performances together and convert, really, really impressive, and it's testament to their performance.
Well, we're going to hear from Neil Crompton in the lane very soon, but I think I might press you for some Schick hydro moments. You give me one, and I'll give you what I reckon was my eye-catching moment of the weekend. I mean, some thinking time, need some thinking music on that one, because there's a few to pick on. I'll dive in then and say that Cam Waters' victory celebration today, which started with a burnout that was on top of the hill, all the way down in front of McCracken House here at Turn 7, and then continued the entirety down the front straight all the way to Pertec Victory Lane. That is an impressive burnout.
Bad day to be a Dunlop tyre.
Yeah.
But he's a guy that does do a skid, and obviously in a few weeks, Will Brown and Cam are going to go over stateside to have a crack at the Cup Series over there, which is really exciting, but that was a hell of a skid.
All right, give me yours.
As the flies attack me again.
How about Chaz?
I'm going to keep it simple.
His moment from yesterday.
I mean, that was a spectacular performance all weekend, but it was pressed a few times in the broadcast about how calm he seems to be. And Chaz has been around. I think this is he's been in the main game for over 10 years and has been quick. Bathurst wins, race wins, hasn't quite got that championship challenge together.
Yep.
He keeps doing that. I think Triple Eight have something to think about.
Yeah, he could be back in form in a big, big way. Okay, well, the sun is setting here in beautiful Western Australia. We'll have to hear what everyone in pit lane's got to say about it with Neil Crompton.
So I do want to get hold of David Reynolds here, because I haven't seen much of him this weekend. We haven't spoken much. I apologise for intervening. 10th today. How are you? You okay? How was that?
Yeah, I'm much better than I was yesterday. I had a bit more pace in my car and rolled around, started 9th, finished 10th. Maybe could have finished 9th if I raced Matt Payne a bit harder, but yeah, all in all, it was a much more positive day.
What's the challenge? Just trying to get the quality right?
Well, our qualifying car's okay, but we're just finding, yesterday I probably should have been in the 10, and my car was pretty speedy, but I made a big mistake, and we only gave ourselves one chance, which kind of stuffed us over a bit. But the big thing we're finding is, we have to change our car so much from quality to race, so, we're sort of guessing a lot for the race, but to Krusty's credit, then it was a much, much better race car than it was yesterday.
How are you going, Mr. Burgess, back in this headache land of trying to even out performance, because it's the highs and lows of the game? We've seen highs and lows for both the boys in the garage, and we're only at our 4th event of the year. You are going grey.
I was always grey, and that was the last job. No, I'm loving it being back here, but I'm experiencing the lows. I want to get back to experiencing the highs that we've had before in Teamland, but it's good. But like Davey said, we've got a bit of a challenge on at the moment with still understanding the car and developing the quali car and the race car, and we just seem to be on the wrong end of the stick at the moment. But it's good that we held on to our place today. We just need to start, the top 2 rows where we should be, and then we'll be able to race there.
Look forward to seeing you in Darwin. Thanks for hanging around for the chat. Thank you, David. Bye. Catch up with you later. Just next door is Walkinshaw Andretti United, and obviously a pretty strong weekend for these guys. So for Carl Foe, who leads the technical group, a big breakthrough weekend. Remember, they had a test day at Winton just in the gap between New Zealand and this weekend, which is pretty solid. The other thing that should be shouted out, and he's not in there, so I won't go in, but Sam Scafidi, first race win as an engineer. Next door to WAU is the Shell V-Power racing team, and photo time. Yeah, sorry, Andrew. Photo time for Will Davison and Anton. A pretty solid outcome today. Good afternoon, gents. You happy with that?
Oh, yeah, we're happy, yeah. I mean, definitely. Yeah, we're realists, and, we were better than yesterday's race. We obviously had the mechanical last night, which cost me a top 10. But good signs overnight. Like, it was one of those nights where we were frustrated, we were really digging in to the computer, late conversations with the engineer, and made big changes to both our cars, and got some good rewarding qualifying. Q3 not ideal, but to top Q2, that segment showed really good potential for us to be 1 and 3 there. So some really good lessons learned, and a good race. We were literally out of rope between our cars for 50 odd laps, and that was all we had, but I'll take the 4th.
Yeah. 4th and 6th, good solid performance. We talked about it just last week at the shop when we were together. There were glimmers of hope and a strong performance with the JR Trophy for you in New Zealand. Your Sunday wasn't as good as your Saturday, but you had a ripping weekend, and this is encouraging again today. Are you turning a corner?
Will's a hard man to please, as you can tell, but I think our day was good today.
Brown should have got a 10-second penalty.
The weekend overall, I guess the positive for us was we started off average, and then we got better every time we hit the track, and every session we improved. So that's good for us because we're still learning. Track to track, we're trying to work out these things and what needs what. So yeah, to get a bag of points to end the weekend is all good.
Looking forward to Darwin. You're going to have some pace there?
Of course we are. But I mean, there's so many people scratching their heads. Same story. But we are getting there. We are starting to simplify the car. Definitely still not quick enough, but I think considering we didn't roll out here as we wanted, like everyone talked about, can we carry it over from New Zealand? We didn't. But we've made good inroads throughout the weekend. So bit by bit, we're simplifying things, and hopefully we'll fire a shot soon.
You're both smiling, so that's encouraging. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging around. Go and get changed. Thank you. Will Davis and Anton Di Pasquale, Shell V-Power Racing Team in debrief. Perry Kappa looking after the boys there this afternoon. Next door at Erebus here. Tough deal to see what happened there to Brodie early on. Barry Ryan's just wandering, and I'll have a quick word to Jack as well. What was the story there, mate? What happened? How come the number 1 car ended up in the pit bunker here?
Oh, the engine decided not to play the game anymore, so yeah, we just had to pull it in. It wasn't going to fix itself, so
that's rare.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they've been really reliable, but it just all of a sudden got really hot, so head gasket or something internal. So yeah.
The encouraging thing was that it was good to see him in amongst it. We were talking about it at the time. He's got back into the game in New Zealand. Yesterday was a tough day. He ended up back at the back of the pack after that late stop and being punted at the first corner. But today it looked like Brodie of old.
Yeah, definitely. He's trying to get his head around what's different with the car this year, and probably realised that there's not that much difference. So we've gone back to probably a baseline today, and it shows that we'll just take off from here now and be good for the rest of the year.
We'll let you keep on packing up. Thank you for that. We'll have a quick word to Jack here as well. Spoke to him at the start of proceedings. Debrief. Let's go through it. How was it?
Rough. Yeah, we had a good start. Made up 5 spots, which was always nice when you get off a line and have a good run like that. But yeah, Bosch got turned around by old Nico there. But it is what it is, and we had good speed. It was good. The car felt nice. I think we made an improvement on what we had yesterday. So it's a shame when you get this morning right, and this afternoon even better.
But you guys, you've been real solid. You came into the weekend, I think 7th in the championship, and it's been a really good solid start. What's it been like working alongside Brodie?
Yeah, it's been really good. It's been cool. It's obviously he's at the top of his game, coming off last year and winning the championship. So to work alongside him, you're going up against the best, and you're in the same equipment. So I suppose for myself, it's been pretty cool to be able to put myself up against Brodie and have a good run. So yeah, plenty to learn for me. I'm 31. I'm still learning every day. So yeah, having heaps of fun. Just looking forward to getting to Darwin now.
Go and relax. Hard work this weekend. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you having a bit of a chat to us. So well done. Talking about Brodie, I can spot him over here in the background. I haven't had much of a chance to really talk to him. Big weekend for him as a Western Australian boy. Sorry, mate, I'm just going to bomb you here. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, I was just talking to Barry a few moments ago. A real shame for you end up in the garage. The encouraging sign for me was you're in amongst it. You're up the sharp end. You looked like you had pace.
Yeah, no, the car was actually quite speedy there. I just tried to manage my tyres a little bit, and yeah, I sort of knew the first couple of laps. You can kind of tell with these things when you've been around a little while that, you know, if your car's good or not. And yeah, George did a great job of tuning it up. We were absolutely horrible yesterday, so. Yeah, was really pleased to have some pace there, and yeah, was, you know, looking forward to having a bit of a tussle with my old teammate, and you know, just see how we stack up there. But yeah, today just wasn't the day.
Is it feeling as though it's normalising again? You're back in the saddle, you're getting that work rhythm, because it's not an easy thing to do. We've often talked about how spectacular it is. We talk about the bravery, we talk about all the skills and all the rest of it, but what we should emphasise, it is not easy being at the sharp end of a supercar race.
No, it's definitely not. And you know, we've had a few little issues here and there, and you know, until we sort all those out, you know, I think we've still got a bit of progress to make, but you know, I'm looking forward to Darwin, you know, which is coming up in a few weeks, and you know, if we have speed like that, it won't be a problem.
Have you noticed any changes year on year, because there's subtle changes to the car since you last rode?
Yeah, it's a little bit different than last year, obviously with the aero upgrades and whatnot, and you know, it's great to see that, you know, we've had some Fords running up the front this weekend as well. So yeah, I've definitely noticed I'm racing a lot more cars this year, that's for sure.
Plenty of friends and family out here this weekend. That's good to see.
Yeah, it's great having my whole family out here. They've been a massive you know, supporter of mine. So yeah, it's been great having all them out and seeing old friends and whatnot. And yeah, I'm staying back for a couple of days so I can unwind.
All right. Enjoy. Good to have you back. Thanks, mate. Thank you for talking to us. Mr. Brown, I want to have a word to you. Hey, Mitch. That looked pretty lively, but you're still our championship leader and well and truly punching on. I haven't caught up with you much this weekend. Well done. Keep on extending that lead.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a solid weekend when we weren't the fastest car. You know, we were quite strong, but we didn't have it for Chaz and Cam, and they did a really good job. So, you know, it's about consolidating points on a weekend like this and being consistent, and 2 podiums was pretty positive, I think.
Thoughts on the exchange with Thomas?
Well, to be honest, I went down there, I was on the outside. I thought I'm just going to stay here. You know, I thought he moved across down in the bowl, and he did it again, and we made contact. So wasn't planning on putting him off the track, but at the end I got a penalty, so I'll have a chat to Brodie. But, you know, I didn't think there was much in it personally.
Next thing for you is NASCAR, Sonoma. Totally different car, whole new deal 1 week before Darwin. That's exciting.
Yeah, I've got a little shitbox race of lemons with Chaz and Cam coming up next weekend, and then I've got Taylor and Ben in the GT car. Then I've got Sonoma, so got some massive races. Probably next weekend with Chaz and Cam's the biggest, but yeah, NASCAR will be cool. I'm looking forward to getting over there. It'll be cool. I was over there last week actually, so did the sim, got on the GM sim, which was an awesome piece of equipment, and just trying to learn as much as I can. I think doing all that stuff over there will only make me better over here.
All this driving's going to affect your flying, mate.
That's right. Yeah, I haven't been doing much flying. I was loving Hayden pulling this weekend, put on a display.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now listen, let's just talk about motor racing for one more second, because you've worked all your life to be a professional race driver at the top end of town. You are leading the Supercars Championship. Just tell us about your real thoughts and feelings about that. You changed team over the summer period. You've settled into a rhythm. You've got control of this thing at the moment. That's a big deal, mate.
Yeah, it's massive, obviously, moving over this year. I wanted to show, Jamie put a lot of faith in me, obviously, trying to get me across there, and I wanted to repay that, and the whole team. So, I wanted to come out strong this year and not just work into it, and I think we've done a fantastic job there. And it's one of those things, every round you're just trying to keep those points, keep ahead. So yeah, it's been good, but I want to win race. I'm a bit disappointed. I've had a lot of seconds and thirds, so need to start winning some more.
Good to see you smiling. You're still in the lead of the championship. Have fun in the next few weeks. Catch you soon. Will Brown, it's a great story, isn't it? I mean, think about the things he's done. He was a Toyota 86 champion, Formula 4 champion, Formula Ford champion, TCR champion, done cool things in Super 2, and now he's doing cool things with our lot. Hello, Mr. Whincup. I feel like I haven't seen you for about 100 years. No, I came down here, and every time you're pulling the whole CEO trick, you're a busy boy. How's it all going?
It's going well. It's going well. What a weekend. The racing was cracking. Like, I was a bit of a fan there in that last one. Obviously, we were back in the pack or whatnot, and I was going for Will, but yeah, no, the race was good. Really good.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on how it all unfolded? And obviously, there's a bit of a kerfuffle there. I just spoke to Will in the contact with Thomas.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
It was touch and go. Of course, Thomas is a bit all over the place, but he cost himself more than where he cost us, which is only the 5 seconds. But Chaz was unlucky, so unlucky. You know, that rules changed. It was originally absolutely no contact, and then there was a bit of leniency. A little bit here or there is okay, but now it's back to any contact, you're all over. So I thought the racing was great. Not quite the result we wanted, but all in all, it was good stuff.
Talk to me about the other side of the garage. So positive vibes for Will. He's championship leader at the moment. He's looking good. He's dropped into your joint just like he's always been there. Tougher weekend for Brock. What was going on there?
Yeah, he just didn't quite have the car pace. You know, the best strategy, the best way to perform well is have ultimate car pace. So when you qualify 14th, you've already made your bed. You just got to try to make up as many spots you can. We rolled the dice for 4 tyres and come back through. I think you ended up 7th. So we made up 8 or 9 spots, which is a good result. But yeah, not quite enough quality pace.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Neil. Cheers, mate.
When I shave, I want comfort and precision. With 6 diamond-coated blades, built-in trimmer, pivoting head, and a lubricating strip with a touch of vitamin E. That's why the new Schick 6 is my perfect daily driver.
Big thank you to our friends at Schick for their ongoing support of the cool-down lap. Let's wrap it up. Let's start with our BP Ultimate performers from the weekend. And who do you want to maybe single out today?
Today, I still think Chaz Mostert, man of the match for this weekend, but the way that Cam Waters controlled that race, managed the gap to Chaz and then managed his tyres, didn't throw his tyres away because the guys behind him were coming on quick. So I think Cam Waters today, Chaz Mostert all weekend. Yeah, it's a bit of a dead heat between those two in a way. I think Chaz Mostert looked like he had probably the pace, should have won both of those. It was all down to that one tiny pit lane release that cost him winning both of the races. So he's my tip for the week. But if you want to cast your vote, you can go to the Supercars website and go chase that up and let us know who you think was the BP Ultimate performer. Let's cast our mind forward. We've got Darwin on the horizon. It was warm here this weekend. We're going to continue that beautiful sunshine up into the top end. Well, I might need to rock the shorts. I was pretty brave bringing only jeans, knowing that it was nearly 30 degrees, but Darwin's definitely going to be 30 plus degrees. I can't wait. It's always a great event, isn't it?
Yeah, that is going to be really cool up there. So not too far away from being able to get into some more sunshine. Thank you for watching or listening to the Schick Cool Down Lap. It's all new looking and sounding, and we cannot wait to see and hear from everybody up in the beautiful top end when we get there to Darwin. We'll catch you there.